Wanted to prepare design and specification for metering system? If yes, this video is for you. Welcome to BSpice. This is Bala with you. In this session, we'll discuss about the design and specification. So in part one, we'll focus more on general aspects like the standards, the power supply requirements, all these aspects. Then in the second part, we will focus on the system overview, wherein we'll talk about the details of flow control system, what should be the specification, and what should be the specification for the prover unit. All those will dive deeper. So let's start with this, part one. So as I said, yeah, in part one, it's more of a general. Okay, like first we'll start with the intro. This specification defines the requirement of metering system for fiscal metering. Okay. So again, you may have a questions here. What is fiscal metering? Okay. So the fiscal metering refers to the precise measurement and recording of the quantity and quality of a product, typically oil, gas, and other energy commodities for financial and commercial purpose. So this fiscal metering plays a critical role in energy industry, as you know, right? Especially in transaction between producers, transporters, and consumers. Okay. So that's a fiscal metering. Okay. So back to the subject. The metering shall consist of flow meter, provers, instrumentation, flow computer, logic controllers, DCS interface, MMI workstation, even report printers and other auxiliary equipment. Okay. So if you're a first time viewer, just wanted to update you friends. Prior to this, on this metering system with the same playlist metering, we have uploaded 3 videos. One is on the outline, second one, the detailing, the third one, the operational sequence. So all these we covered there. Okay. So this is more of a specification, right? Okay. So intro is done. Now we go into the applicable international standard. Very, very important actually. When you think about the metering, these are the standards should come into your mind. One is API Manual of Petroleum Measurement Standard, Chapter 4, which talks about the proving system. Okay. Then API Manual of Petroleum Measurement Standard, Chapter 5, which talks about the liquid metering. Okay. So API Manual of Petroleum Measurement Standard, Chapter 6, it talks about the metering assemblies. Then API Manual of Petroleum Measurement Standard, Chapter 8, that talks about the sampling. Then API Manual of Petroleum Measurement Standards, Chapter 12, calculation of petroleum quantity. Then APA specification for lease automatic custody transfer equipment. That is also we need to focus. Then ANSI ASME B31.3 talks about the pipe design and fabrication specification. ANSI ASME B31.4, this talks about the liquid petroleum piping transportation system. And finally, American Welding Society D1.1 structure steel code for the skid fabrication. So these are the applicable standards, friends, as far as the metering is concerned. Okay. Now we go into the scope of supply. Okay. So we need to tell the vendor that design, supply, fabrication, testing, system configuration, delivery, and commissioning. And of course, if you are a EPC guy, okay, this is meant for EPC, right? Okay. So major equipments to be supplied. Okay. One is a skid mounted metering station with multiple path meter, pressure transmitter, pressure gauge installed for each meter run on the skid, and also temperature instrument with direct mount temperature transmitter for each meter run on the skid, thermometer, automatic sampler proportional to the flow, and also the what you call motor operated valves, MOV, strainer, prover, flow computer for each metering system, and of course the testing and calibration equipment. So all these you need to list out when you prepare the design and specification. Okay, right. So let's get on with the accuracy. So what sort of accuracy? Flow computer we should ask for plus or minus 1%, whereas the total measured volume should be plus or minus 0.2%. Flow meter again 0.02 accuracy, repeatability. Okay, 0.02% repeatability. So these are the spec we should put forth as far as the accuracy is concerned. Then we have a miscellaneous hardware, for example, the computers, the workstation. So it should be the latest processor, 1 TB hard disk, 8 GB RAM, 14-inch TT screen for a laptop. And if it is a desktop means we'll go for 1 TB hard disk, 8 GB RAM and 19-inch TT screen for a desktop. And of course, inkjet printers with A4 plain paper tray, feeder, color and black ink cartridges. All keyboards, operating software, documentation shall be English language based. So these are the some of the things. Of course, this you can customize based on your requirement basically. So this is a typical and standard and very, what do you call stringent. Yeah, good to have like this. That's my opinion. It's up to you. Based on your project, you can choose. Then we talk about the hazardous and environment protection. Okay. So when we talk about environment, hazardous and environment, we can focus on electrical hazard area classification for field equipment, zone 2. So predominantly in oil and gas, refinery petrochemical, we will deploy this in zone 2. Okay. Zone 2, gas group 2C and temperature group T3. So in fact, we have already uploaded one video exclusively on the zone 2 gas groups and temperature group also. If you are interested, you can watch. It's available on a BSpice channel. Okay. Then electrical hazardous certification for the field instruments. Either we can go with EEXI or EXI. Okay. Right. If EXI is sometimes is not feasible, then we should also can go with EXT. Okay. And classification of degree of protection by enclosure, IE 660-529 standard to be adopted, and IP55 as a minimum. But what I recommend is for a field instruments, then you can also, go for IP65. But what I mentioned here is as a minimum actually. Okay. So this is about the hazardous and environment protection. Then power supply is very, very important. UPS AC power feeder will be available to power the metering system control equipment with 30 minutes backup time in case of site power failure. So we should have this provision, 30 minutes. Voltage frequency, yes, 240 volt AC plus or minus 10%, 50 hertz plus or minus 5%. Then in general, the field instrument devices connected to the metering system and operating at 24 volt DC. That's the standard, right? Shall have a loop power supply from the metering system with all the necessary protection of field circuits. Internally mounted memory backup batteries may be used in accordance with flow computer PLC supplier recommendation. Okay, we can go with the vendor recommendation. And non-UPS power, this is for the auto sampler and MOV, will be made available as, like for example, single phase 240 volt AC plus or minus 10% and 50 hertz plus or minus 5% deviation. And three phase means 415 volt AC plus or minus 10% and 50 hertz plus or minus 5%. So this is about the power supply. Okay. Now, instrument air and nitrogen. Instrument air minimum 4 bar, normal 7 bar, maximum 11 bar. So if it is nitrogen, then 5 bar is a minimum, normal 7 bar and maximum 11 bar G. Okay. So these are the some of the basic things, friends, as far as general actually. Okay. So to sum up actually, so what we had covered so far, we talked about the intro and importantly the applicable international standard. Then we talk about the major equipment to be supplied as part of the speed and accuracy and the specification for miscellaneous hardware, especially the computers. And we also talked about the hazardous area and the power supply and instrument air and nitrogen. So that's all I have for this session. So the next session will talk about the system overview. So what is this system overview? So system overview in the sense we'll talk about the flow measuring station, what is the requirement, and we also talk about the prover requirements and also the flow control system requirements, and of course the major functions, and also we talk about the operational graphics and also the operational modes. So there are a lot of modes actually that also we will see here. Okay. Yeah. Modes in the sense you have batch mode and flow mode. We will also dive deeper on each type of modes. Okay. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned and we will continue the part 2 with system overview. Take care. Bye-bye.